This is Peter Thiel. He invested 500k in a company in 2004, and in 2012 he sold that same 10% stake for over $1 billion. This could be you. Find out how. Hello, my name is Ola, and on this channel I basically explain economics and finance in simple English. So if you're looking for basic information, knowledge and tips that would help you in making the right investment decisions to achieve your money goals, then stick around by clicking the subscribe button and hitting the notification bell so that you get very fresh content from me weekly. Everybody knows Mark Zuckerberg as the founder of Facebook, but not everybody knows Peter Thiel, one of the initial investors in the company, or Mark's four other friends who invested at the very start of the idea. So while the Facebook story sounds amazing, it's best to put it in perspective by letting you know that data shows that 50% of businesses do not cross the 5-year mark, and then by the time you get to the 10-year mark, only 1 in 3 businesses survive at that point. Now what this tells you is that a lot of people have business ideas, but not all business ideas will survive. So what I'm going to be talking about today is how to maximize your chances of investing in the right thing and structuring it well so that you come up tops at the end. So, number one thing you need to do, the very first thing, is check your goals. Make sure that your goals align with that business idea. If your goals not align in terms of your time horizon, in terms of your impact, the impact you want to make with your investment, in terms of the kind of returns that you are expecting, then do not invest. Don't bother yourself. At that point, just say cheers and keep it moving. Number 2, after you check that your goals are aligned, if you do not understand what the business idea is, then don't bother. The surest way to create wealth is by solving a problem. Now, if somebody comes with a business idea that you cannot see how it is going to be solving any tangible problem, or that the problem it is addressing isn't something that you think that people will pay for, then do not go past that. Just cut it there. You have to. Number 3. Now we all agree that a business plan is just what it is, a plan, and something can happen along the way that could change that. But that is the risk of investing. But at least at the start, the barest minimum is that it should be viable on paper. By the time you look at the assumptions, and if they do not add up, then at that point, kill it. So you need to have a business plan, a well written out business plan. Number 4, calculate your downside risk. So whenever you are considering an investment, consider your downside risk. What is the worst case scenario? The most important thing when you are investing is that whatever the risks are, you should be able to clearly articulate it and you should be able to live with it. If you can't live with that downside risk, then walk away. Number 5, if the terms don't work for you, take a walk. So if the terms, and what do I mean by terms? If it's a debt instrument, if you are going to be given a loan, if the tenor doesn't work for you, if the rate doesn't work for you. So if it's equity, does the percentage stake that you are getting work for you? Does the dividend policy work for you? Does the timeline work for you in terms of recovering your money? If they don't work for you, before you even disburse your money, just say, cheers, I'm good, take a walk. One of the most important things about investing with your friends and family is for them to understand that it is business, that it's business, right? If I'm going to do charity and give you a gift, yeah, that's fine. But when it comes to investing, you must place a demand like you would with an arm's length transaction. By arm's length, I mean with someone who you don't know, you don't have any ties with, you don't have any emotional connections to. Then, of course, when the terms are now fantastic and you are all agreed, the next thing definitely is to document everything. Every single thing, every single assumption, every single thing, every agreement you must document. Everything must be stated. And the most important thing comes up here. You must have a third party that is involved in that documentation process. You must have a third party that is objectively looking at all that you are doing and make sure that you covered all your bases. Because documentation is very key when it comes to investing. So whatever terms you have agreed, it must be clearly stated on paper. And both parties must read and agree that what is stated on paper is what they implied while they were speaking. Because in talking, you might be thinking of one thing and the other person might be interpreting the same statement in another way. So number 7, which is very, very, very key, is that you need to make sure that the founder has something to lose. The founder must have some skin in the game. The founder must have a drive, right? The person that you are giving investment or this capital to must have some skin in the game. They must be more interested, or they must have more at stake than you do in that investment, because you are pretty much a cash provider. You're not going to be running the business. You need somebody who's passionate about making it happen. So before you put your money in someone's business idea, be sure of the person's level of commitment to that idea. If it is just flippant, and if it's just let's try, let's see if it will work, then decide if you really want to be a part of it, and make sure that the terms that you are agreeing with reflect that, because it's higher risk. But if the founder or the business idea owner has a lot of skin in the game, then they are more likely to pull through, they're more likely to push to get to the other side of profitability, right? So the major thing, something very, very important, number 7 thing I would shout and shout and shout, is that make sure that the founder has some skin in the game. Make sure the founder has something to lose. Then the 8th thing, have an exit plan before you put your money in. At the start of that investment, you need to be saying, how am I going to exit? What is my exit cash out plan? You need to have that clear. You need to be able to sit down with the founder and say, I want to leave my money in your business for 7 years, for 10 years. This is how I expect to get out of it. Can you work towards this? So you need to have milestones for your disbursement of capital. This is very, very important. Even when you commit that you're going to invest in that business, you need to commit and put terms. So you say you need 1 million for this round of funding. As much as I'm committing 300K, I will only disburse when you have written commitment to the full 1 million. Another thing also they could have milestones around is even the 300K. As much as I'm committed to it, I'm not going to give you everything at once. There are 5 steps in this first round of funding. At the start, I'll disburse 50K. And when you hit stage 2, I will disburse another 50. And when you hit stage 3, what that does is that it ensures that the founder aligns his activities and interest with yours, because he knows that for him to get the next level of funding, he must deliver on the previous commitments. So that way, everybody's aligned. It is very, very important to attach milestones. Don't just say, I committed to giving this amount of money. It's just here, take it and go. You have to follow your money. You have to make sure that whatever the plan is being executed. It's also good because if something goes wrong on stage 2, you know that you've not released everything and you can pull back on that. Right, so you need to attach milestones. It is very, 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 very important. And the final thing, remember the stats I gave you at the start, right? In 10 years' time, there's a 70% chance that no matter how much calculation you have done, this business might not be in existence, right? So don't ever invest money you can't afford to lose in one business, right? Have your threshold. So if you have 10 businesses, there's a chance that only 3 would survive, and those 3 that would survive would actually cover the losses on the remaining 7. Do you understand? So if you see it that way, then it also makes the whole diversifying thing logical. So if you think of Peter Thiel, so he invested 500K, he invested in 10 companies, 5 million, right? And he made $1 billion on one. That's the spirit of it, right? So the fundamental thing is, don't invest money you can't lose. That's the most important thing, because there's a very high chance that the business will not be in existence in 10 years' time, and you need to be able to live with it. If you can't live with that fact, don't bother. Put your money in treasuries. Do you understand? But treasuries might not work for you in terms of your wealth goals. So at some point, you need to find that balance, which is why diversification is very, very important. Do not invest money you can't afford to lose. I thought this was useful. If you have any questions, thoughts, comments, if you have any ideas, if you have any experiences about investing in friends' companies, whilst I recognize that it can be such a hassle, but a lot of times people do not actually tick all these boxes in the process of investing. So tell me, which tips have you found useful that you hadn't thought about before? Let me know in the comment section. And most importantly, do not forget that you cannot outsource your health and your finances. So you have to engage, you have to be in the journey. Don't forget Peter Thiel, he actually is a goal, right? Let's try and be like him, and we all can. This was useful. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.